Hi guys, your girl Zoe Cook here, and today I'm going to be reviewing and talking about The Bad Guys. Now, I'm sure everyone has already seen it, so if you don't care for spoilers, you can go ahead and don't have to watch this video if you don't want to. Anyway, the movie starts off with Mr. Snake and Mr. Wolf talking about birthdays, and Mr. Snake has a hatred towards, doesn't like birthdays. We'll get to why in a bit. Anyway, they are at a cafe and everyone's afraid of them because they're the big bad guys who do bad things, stealing, robbing, and scaring people. Anyway, they leave the cafe to go to a bank to rob it, and they successfully do it because the bankers are also scared of them. They get to a car, and then there's like a cop chase scene. Then we meet the other bad guys. We meet Mrs. Tarantula, named also Webbs, who's the hacker. And we meet Mr. Shark, a man of disguise. And Mr. Piranha, who is pretty much gassy. He forgets like a birthday present for Mr. Snake, and he farts because he was nervous about lying, and and everyone's just disgusted with it. Anyway, yeah, there's also this police officer woman, Chief. I'm just gonna call her Chief, and she's been devoting her adult life to going chasing them, and well, she unsuccessfully does it because they get away. They get back to their hideout to celebrate Mr. Snake's birthday. And he has like these pictures of them all together, and he puts them on the fridge because because he cares about them and hates them the least. Then Mr. Piranha digs into a cake that Miss Tarantula bought for Mr. Snake, which is nice. Or at least got for Mr. Snake. Then there's this scene with the push pop, and Mr. Shark wants it, and Mr. Snake teases him about it, and then he's like, nope, and he says, he goes, sucker. Then they get into this huge big fight, and Mr. Wolf goes to the TV to watch it, and sees them a woman named Tiffany talking about the robbery, and they all get together, and then there's this governor woman, Miss Diana, who says that they're like has-beens, with anger, sadness, depression, and stuff issues, which gets them all wind up, and then he goes and says that they should steal the golden dolphin from Professor Marmalade, who is a guinea pig, and snakes eat guinea pigs, so yeah. So they plan the heist, and things kind of don't go their way somehow times, because at one point Mr. Wolf saves an old lady from falling instead of stealing something of hers, and she thanks him. Then he gets this weird little tingle, but then goes back to wanting to steal things. Him and Mr. Snake and Mr. Piranha get to the golden dolphin, but then there's like a security system for them, and that's pretty funny. I mean, a security system for Mr. Wolf, Mr. Snake, Mrs. Tarantula, Mr. Shark, and Mr. Piranha. A security system. And then Professor Marmalade says his speech, and they're able to get the dolphin, of course, but they get caught by the police and almost arrested. But then Mr. Wolf tries to come up with a plan to make it sound like they want to redeem themselves, which fools Mr. Marmalade, and he wants to give them a second chance. But he tells his crew that they're just pretending to go good. And then they meet up with Mr. Marmalade the next day. He shows them this meteor that Mr. Piranha says looks like a butt, but he strongly disagrees that it's not a butt, but he keeps pushing it and it gets him angry and stuff. I think it looks like a heart or something. I don't think it looks like a butt. So, yeah. And, well, they start their training, like helping an old lady cross the road, saving a cat, sharing a popsicle, but that all does not go well. And he asks them what they're good at, and Mr. Wolf and the others tell them stealing, which gives Mr. Marmalade a good idea to get some guinea pigs out of some science lab place. And of course, that kind of doesn't go well because Mr. Snake volunteers to get them out, but guess what? He eats them. He puts them in his stomach, and Mr. Wolf is trying to get them all out, which he does. But on the newspaper, it doesn't really go well. Miss Diana says she's going to call the chief, and Mr. Snake and Mr. Wolf talk, I think. Well, Mr. Wolf tries to stop her. She says, like, he's too proud or too gutless to take the chance, and he says that he's the bad guy, and and if they would to change, who's gonna believe them? And then Mrs. Fox says that a wolf and a fox ain't so different when she shows the ring that she stole from him. She says that he should at least give him a chance. And of course he does end up saving the cat. He does end up getting the cat down from the tree. And I think someone was live streaming it, and everyone saw the good deed he did. And then, of course, it gets a little there, because then that means Mr. Professor Marmalade was talking to him about cutting the others loose, which Mr. Snake hears, and he doesn't like that because Mr. Wolf and Mr. Snake have been friends since they were kids. And one night he asked him if the plan were to change, he'd let him know. Because he wants to be sure that, he wants to make sure that he would be let in on the situation. The next night is the night of the gala, where they're planning on stealing the golden dolphin. All they have to do is get the code, switch it out with a fake one, and leave with a gift saying "So long, suckers." But, yeah, a lot of things are changing in that, and he doesn't let Mr. Snake know, because he doesn't really want to steal the golden dolphin, Mr. Wolf, I mean. He doesn't want to steal it, and this is where things go south. The golden dolphin is stolen, and the chief thinks it was them, but it wasn't, and then somebody's framing them. And it turns out to be Professor Marmalade. It turns out Professor Marmalade was planning this entire scheme down to the old lady. He was disguised as an old lady, revealing that Mr. Wolf saved an old lady instead of stealing from her, which upsets Mr. Snake, or shocks him. And Mr. Wolf is about to attack Marmalade, but when he opens the car door, he's making it out that Mr. Wolf wants to kill an innocent guinea pig. Miss Diana doesn't really trust Marmalade, and at one point in the movie, he actually, before the whole chase scene, he gives her the location of the hideout, and he wants her to give it all back. Should we then go to the prison cell, where Mr. Snake is upset that Wolf deceived them and lied to him. It gets to a heated fight, and they fight, and then we meet the Crimson Paw, which actually turns out to be Miss Diana. And, well, we get to another part where Mr. Snake reveals why he hates birthday parties. It's just a constant reminder to him that out there, he's just a horrible, scary monster. And he's upset that the one guy who was his best friend stabbed him in the back. That was really sad. That was a sad moment. Yeah. So Mr. Wolf and Miss Diana go off to stop Marmalade on their own. The bad guys go back to the hideout, which is revealed empty. Mr. Snake then shows an act of kindness by giving Mr. Shock a push pop because he wanted to make him feel better. But he still denies that they're good and slams the freezer door, knocking off a lot of pictures except for one, I think. And then, of course, Mr. Marmalade is planning on something evil, mind controlling the guinea pigs, which is bad. And, of course, Diana and Wolf try to stop him, but then they get caught. And, of course, someone reveals to them he reveals that he knew because Mr. Snake is helping him. And he's wanting to get in on all the villainy and leaving them to die by being, grinded. Before then, but before they're grinded up, there's a bit of a gas, and it turns out Piranha and Mrs. Tarantula and Mr. Shock are there to help them, and to stop Mr. Professor Marmalade by getting the meteor to the chief, which turns out the meteor is actually used to control the guinea pigs by using this helmet thing that's used to also control them. And of course they almost get to the chief with the meteor, but they want to go back for Mr. Snake because they don't want to do it without him. And well, they try to save him, and Mr. Marmalade was about to pushes him off the plane when he realized that he could be using this as for Mr. Wolf's weakness. And Mr. Wolf and him apologize and care about each other. They all make it out safely. The chief is about to arrest them. Well, they end up turning themselves in. Mr. Marmalade shows up trying to look as innocent as ever, but it turns out that Mr. Snake was one step ahead. He switched the meteor with a lamp that looked like the meteor, and of course, Professor Marmalade is gone to jail because Miss Diana made it look like he was the Crimson Paw that stole the Zampano diamond. Chief arrests Professor Marmalade. The bad guys go to jail, and then years pass, and they're getting out of jail. It's on Snake's birthday again. They meet up with Diana, and well, they're moving on to their next thing. So yeah, this movie was pretty good, and I like it. So yeah, and there's gonna be like a prequel on Netflix. You guys should go check it out once it comes out. And I don't really know what's gonna happen next. If Professor Marmalade is gonna get out of jail, or maybe Mr. Snake will have a girlfriend. Am I right? Maybe like a snake girl or a chameleon. I don't know. Everyone does ship Mr. Wolf and Miss Diana. That's understandable. So yeah, this movie was pretty good. I liked it. And yeah, you guys can go watch it too. It's on Peacock. And if you guys like this video, like and subscribe. Comment down below if you can what your favorite moment was. Mine was like the cherished moment with Mr. Snake and Mr. Wolf caring about each other. That's good friendship. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, everyone.